Welcome to the Draftstars AFL show with Smatho and Roody.
Yes, with thanks to Daily Fantasy Rankings and the Draftstars. This is the Draftstars AFL show, round 22. Saints versus Lyons, $70,000 prize pool. 6 golden ticket winners to be crowned over the next couple of nights. I'm Smatho. Roody's back. We've got the Saints and Lions coming up, mate. It's a tough little slate, this one. Not making it easy this time of year.
Yeah, it's a very tough one. G'day, Smatho. Welcome back. Always good to see you on a Thursday night. It's a tough one. I can't wait to see what you think about this slate. You caught me pouring myself a drink then. I thought you were just going to continue with the solo intro there. I didn't realize you're going to throw to me. But no, I'd be really interested in how people approach what is a very interesting slate. And Smatho, we are the other day, I was just on the Draftstars website. I needed to look at the dates, just confirm the date to the live final, tell the wife that I wasn't going to be around that Arvo. And it's easy to forget just how big this prize is, $150 prize to first. It's massive. I'm so excited. So excited that it's just around the corner. Couple more chances to win, people. So you've got to get those entries in. You want to be in with a chance of what could be, well and truly, a life-changing amount of money.
It's a ridiculous, absurd amount of money. It's taken all season just to gather in your little entries, hoping that you get a ticket. We're just about putting the finishing touches for the event itself. So, yes, we've contacted our winners today. So if you haven't received some correspondence from Draftstars, hit the support line and obviously give them a shout out.
I didn't get mine, Smatho. I didn't get mine. I didn't get any email. So what's going on with my ticket?
No, don't worry about that.
No?
You've got 6 chances left, mate. So, yeah, obviously, if you haven't got that, obviously get on to Draftstars as well. A couple of things before we give a little shout out to the live final winner. Yes, if people don't know, it's the Sunday game, round 23, Blues versus the Magpies, which could be a bit of a sad day for me being a Blues supporter. So this has been a rough couple of weeks for us. I'm not sure I haven't had an update about Patrick Cripps yet, so I'm sure someone will let us know on the chat. So if you do have anything on the chat tonight, pop it in. Great to see King Kong back here for us. He's here for the shitness, as he says at the end. So thanks very much for joining in. And also, if you have anything,
Makes it seem like he
chuck it in the chat. It'll be awesome. You can do that.
Hey, is King Kong coming to the live final? King, are you coming to the live final, mate?
Pop it in the chat if he is. Speaking of the live final, obviously myself and Roody are actually going to be. Obviously, I'll have to be on site, but yeah, Roody has managed to slide in the back door and suggested, hey, let's do a little bit of a live video at the live final before the event, get the vibe, get the scene out. So obviously, Roody are coming along. Obviously, he's not participating at the moment, but he will be capturing the vibes. So check out the Daily Fantasy Rankings YouTube channel. We'll be going live approximately around 2:15 on Sunday, but we'll also have more details on DFR socials for that. So looking forward to catch up in the flesh, Roody. Me coming over from Hobart, so it'll be awesome to see you, and we'll talk some strat and talk to some guys. Hopefully, you want to say hello to us up there. Elliot's on his way; he's there ×2. He's in a big chance there. Oh, Elliot, Eagle awaiting your team tonight as well. So this is going to be. I feel show the team now.
I feel like that even if I am set on my team, which of course I'm not, that I kind of have to make changes now. I've got a bit of a reputation to play up to. So you just have to wait around and see, guys.
What? So King Kong will be there. Yes, I'll be one with the red hat on. So I'm looking forward to catching up with him. If he'd be just, where's the guy with the red hat?
Imagine if King Kong was actually my mate Chris Eddy. Imagine they were like the same people.
Can only imagine.
Yeah.
But imagine no more for these guys here who are our latest winners for the Draftstars AFL Live Final. Shout out to these guys. DePrazer 93, Old Frenchie, C France 172 with a second ticket. If you ever seen Sibber 23's avatar, shout out to old Hef. He's coming along. ADB 1984, Starbucks Adez 176, I reckon that's how you pronounce it. Hero win with a second. off the map with a second ticket. JJ13, Punter 88, Kingy FC. Congratulations, guys. They're booked in. Their flights, accommodation, all covered. Thanks to Draftstars, competing for that $150,000 first prize. Looking forward to catching up Sunday week. But in the meantime, we do have DFS to talk about here, Roody. Friday night. Now, we haven't done the Lions in quite a while. Nor the Saints. Saints don't usually get a Friday night offering. So this is going to rack your brains. So I'll see if Roody does waffle on tonight. I'll try and straighten you up. But let's see how we go. It's a $70,000 contest one, just over $6,200 for first prize. 3 tickets also available for this particular match. Let me bring up the teams, Roody, that dropped on earlier this evening via the AFL website. And for the Saints, Jared Lionhurt and Wangani Milleri are back. Dan Hanbury couldn't get 3 games together if he tried. Josh Battle's injured also. Zach Jones is also admitted, which is really interesting to them on there. Jack Payne and Jackson Pryor are in for the Lions before Calamar Chi and Marcus Adams have both had their skulls rattled last week. Mitch Robertson has been put out to pasture. It seems he might get a game next week. As you may not.
Oh, you sound like you're ready. Did you just retire Mitch Robertson there? Just put out to pasture. Yes. That looks interesting.
Yeah, I pretty much did. So. In terms of fantasy relevance, Roody, I think the Saints ins are more relevant than the Lions ins. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's interesting. By the way, I hate it when I look down at my video when you broadcast. If I'm looking at myself, I really hate it. So just let me change screen for a second there. I think they actually both have a bit of relevance to them, to be honest. So Leonard comes back in at the expense of Josh Battle. That saves me from picking Josh Battle again. So thank you, Jared. I appreciate that. So we'll get to Jared Leonard's relevance to what he does to the Saints back 6 in a moment. And then Wangani Miller comes in as well. Zach Jones, Smatho, did you watch the Saints game last week?
No, unfortunately, I didn't actually watch much football last week. I was actually on a golf course named Bambugle.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh,
Bambugle, some place like that. It was lovely.
Fancy.
Anyway, go ahead.
He was awful. Zach Jones was absolutely awful. Just like miles off the pace, second to the ball. I'm not surprised he got dropped at all. Hanbury being managed, like, it's pretty funny, let's be honest. You know, the number of games they've been waiting for this guy, the number of years they've been waiting for this guy, and then he gets managed. It's pretty funny. So yeah, there actually is a little bit of talk. So Jones is a kind of like a fifth midfield rotation. So, people like, what's his name, Windhager and Mitch Owens might get a little bit of a look in there, although Owens did play that negating role again last week. So we'll get to that later on when we talk about those guys. And then the Lions, Calamar Chi's been playing across the half back a little bit. Marcus Adams, defensive lock as well. So with them going out, like for like pretty much, with Payne will go to the back. And also Pryor will play kind of like he had some midfield relevance, but not much, and not really too interested in him. And then Robinson going out, there's a little bit of space on the wing too. So not big names. There aren't big names coming in and out, but there is a bit of fantasy relevance to them.
All right. Shout out to DFR's Aussie free resources. They're available at dailyfantasyrankings.com.au. Browse on the current data tools that are available on the site right now show that there's not really too much avenues to target for either side. Brisbane have always been notorious kind of hard to score against teams. So as you can see here for backs, they're pretty tight for fantasy scoring there. But as you can see for the Saints, they're kind of in the middle of the road in terms of scoring. But the last 5 here for Brisbane for midfielders have been to tighten it up, whereas the Saints have loosened it up a little bit there as well. So you can check them out at dailyfantasyrankings.com.au. So they're already fresh there for round 22, ready to go. Let me bring up the slate, Roody. One thing I noticed straight away, I don't think I saw a player at 6K this week. So which means that your dreams of, going the old stars and scrubs might have to alleviate for another day. What is your overall thoughts here when you're trying to tackle this particular slate?
Yeah, look, it's fascinating, this one, to see how people will attack it. You actually can get a stars and scrubs in if you pay down. Like, although there's no 6K players, you can still get a Ben Long and a Darcy Gardner in your back line, and you can still fit in a pretty stacked midfield with Rowan Marshall as well. So although there's no 6K players, there is still a way to jam in like a Steele, Crouch, and someone else as well, like a Zorko or something like that, and then go to Marshall. So there are multiple ways to attack. There aren't. I really felt that the forward options were quite lacking. If you want to pay up for a forward, it's quite difficult. So I actually think there are quite a few, probably about 5 or 6, 7 to 8.5K guys who I was pretty interested in, who I think have pretty good chances of getting like a 60 to a 70. So I actually think you still can go stars and scrubs. But shall we just jump right into the rucks, Smatho?
That's true. I reckon it's probably the best position to talk about tonight, because we have got Rowan Marshall here available at 14,990. So let's call him 15K. Clearly, he's obviously had a great run of it since Paddy Ryder has left the team. He goes up against Oscar McInerney, who had 105 last week at 12,270. So a lot of box watchers will probably see that thinking, okay, that's not too bad from Oscar there. And then Daniel Mcstay, with all the media attention that he's had in the past, 6 to 8 weeks, 9,760, his center scores are trending in the right direction. 92 last week, a 72 the week before at 9,760. Also, he's a forward/ruck there. Just the 3 options. Don't think we'll see Ford or Campbell in the late changes. We might see Ford as a sub again. That was kind of funny seeing that. But mate, 3 options. Rowan Marshall, obviously a very popular fantasy player at the moment, kind of keeping the long seasons guy teams afloat. But McInerney Mcstay might give him a bit of a run for his money here.
Yeah, so Rowan Marshall, $15,000, but the ceiling is there. I mean, we saw it a couple of weeks ago. Okay, it was against Big Boy in the ruck, and Big Boy is not the most mobile of ruckmen anymore. But that massive ceiling is still there. I think you can easily say that Marshall will be the highest scoring ruck on the slate, right? And for some people, that analysis will simply stop there. Will he be the highest scoring ruck? Yes, he will. Cool, lock him in, and I'll just make it work. And I think there are enough avenues to value to make a Marshall team work. McInerney did score well last week. However, it was against TDK solo rucking, because Pitney was out last week. And TDK, although he is great around the ground, actually in the ruck, he's not that good. And so McInerney, 37 hit-outs. I doubt he'll get 37 against someone as good as Marshall in the ruck and as big as Marshall. So I think they're all in play. Definitely have shares in all 3 rucks. You can even go for a double ruck stack with Mcstay in the forward line. I do have a bit of interest in Mcstay. I think that like St Kilda, Smatho, are they still a mathematical chance? Can you help me out? Are they still a mathematical chance? Are they dead? Are they gone?
I'll check that out for you while you talk it out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gone. And even if they do make it, like, they're going to be terrible. So Saints, I reckon, Q and the rack kind of stuff. This is a percentage builder for the Lions, or should be. However, we have seen the Lions kind of stumble a little bit in terms of winning games that they should, especially this time of year. So they're no, it's no lay down Mazette, but I think that the Lions should win comfortably. And so I don't mind Mcstay. I don't mind Mcstay at this price at all. If I was to prioritise them, I'd probably be going number 1, Marshall, number 2, Mcstay, number 3, McInerney.
Okay. To answer your question, so Kilda are still $6.50 to make the top 8, $1.10 to miss the top 8. So yeah, not quite Q in the rack, but this is the last chance to win.
Last chance. And
Bit of a shout out to Julian, who's just jumped on and said, always good to see you boys live. Looking forward to the next scene this week. So we are looking forward to. Let's move on. Obviously, Roody's got me on the hop there. So let me look on the defense. Jack Sinclair, 15,990. He's come off the boil. after that huge 146, he's just gone 88, 96, 88, which at 15,099 is not enough, and especially for a defender. So I'll get your thoughts on him very shortly. Daniel Rich at 12,710. He's also come off the ball in terms of fantasy scores. I know there's been an injury in that lot as well, but it hasn't seemed to come back towards those 100-point scores that he was doing earlier this season. They're your two major defensemen. And then Keaton Coleman, who's had an absolute ripping season, did come off the ball again as well. It's not 11,970 after a 56 against the Blues. And then we get down to our 11K guys in Brady Hill at 11.8, Brandon Starchevich at 10.6, Callum Wilkie at 10.4, Jimmy Webster at 9,000. And then the one I'm keen on here is Jared Leinhart at 8,630. Can be a very high kick mark kind of player, and at that particular price is probably one of my key guys for this particular game. But Rudy, let's go back up to the top. Tell me about Sinclair. Great tournament play, it looks like. But geez, that price, though.
Yeah, the price is crazy. I've been, I think the last couple of Saints games have been on free-to-air TV, so I've seen him. He was playing more of an actual defensive role recently, and so he just didn't have as much involvement. He was clamped down on. I think he was tagged a couple of games ago, and then he was really playing an actual lockdown kind of role. So, look, I'm not going to prioritise him today, especially. I agree with you, great tournament play, but 16, I think his price has gone up. Might have to jump on and check historical prices there, but I'm pretty sure his price has gone steadily up in the last few weeks. Maybe those two 140s are still in the algorithm, but they definitely shouldn't be. So 16 is just too expensive for me. Tournament play, and even then, very, very low ownership as well. Daniel Rich and Kitty Coleman. Look, Saints have, I think, aren't they ranked 6th for points against defenders? So the matchup is a pretty good one. Have to stack them, but it's a pretty decent matchup. So I don't mind a bit of a Kitty Coleman and Daniel Rich pairing, or I think that if you're playing one's Brisbane defender, you should probably play two, just to get a bit of correlation happening. Although there are some very, very attractive low-cost players, as you just touched on. By the way, Smatho, you do remind me of the Anglo school principal trying to pronounce foreign names a bit there. Lionheart, there's no H in his name, it's Lionheart, right? So Lionheart, like not Lionheart. And can you say Starcevich for us one more time, please?
Brandon Starcevich.
There we go. Love it. So with Lionheart coming back in, I reckon people go to Lyons, definitely, but Cal Wilkie could be the kind of contrarian play. He is more expensive, obviously, and we haven't seen a big ceiling game. We've only seen like one or two this year, but if everyone's going to line it, then Cal Wilkie could be a good one. Don't forget, like, Brisbane are with Hipwood back, right? And he has been back for a number of weeks, I know that. But Danaher, Mcstay, Hipwood, like, they're three really big forwards, right? So Danaher, Hipwood, both 200 plus. So, yeah, you're going to have Wilkie play a bit more of a lockdown role, and then Lionheart could be free. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. Let me just change screens to my screen. There we go. Jimmy Webster, not so much tonight. Jack Payne has been someone who I have liked a little bit in these single slates, and you could have some shares of him. Patton, not so much. Patton, yes, is on my list on the back of a really good couple of games. And also Hunter Clark is at a great price. So if you keep on going down past that, Darcy Gardner all the way down at 7. He has historically had a few really, really high ceiling games, like an 80-90 at 7 isn't out of the question. So basically there are a heap of low-cost defenders. I think you can get access to a couple of them quite easily, and then kind of stack your forward line, stack your midfield, and we'll see what kind of team I keep on building as we keep going.
Yeah, I think your summary was there was, if you're going to correlate two Lions players, you probably will have like a Gardner with a Kitty Coleman or a Daniel Rich. And if you don't go down the Brisbane lot and you want to go down the Saints lot, then you've got plenty of options in the 8K region for the Saints.
Yeah, definitely.
Good summary there. All right. Let's talk about Jack Steele. 16,490. 92 last week, 107 the week before. Does have that massive ceiling with the 150 there back on the 24th of July. Hugh McCluggage is also gone up to 16,090. You wouldn't believe that his last three scores are just around that 100 mark. So that is I like our mate Hunter. He's a bit overpriced in my book. Brad Crouch is the one that everyone's going to flock to. 15,830. 123, 128, 147 in his last 3 weeks. They're your top three, Roody. I can see Brad Crouch easily being more owned than those other two, though.
Yeah, 100% he will be. I mean, you're only saving 600. So, I don't know, Jack Steele will always be the dude who has dominated the needle for so long. I know that it's been years since that, and he's come a long, long way since he dominated the needle. But whenever I think of Steele, I just think, oh my God, he could go 40, 10, 10 in terms of, possessions, marks, tackles, like he used to go back then. But yeah, I agree with you. People are going to flock. I actually think that, Brad Crouch could easily be the highest owned player on the slate. Absolutely. With 3 decent, okay ruck options, they won't be the highly owned no 6K players. So yeah, Crouch, everyone will go to him on the back of those recent scores, which makes Steele a good play. McCluggage, to get to his value, really needs to kick goals as well. And I've said this for ages, probably the last 2 years. And I know he's kicked 2 bags of 4 this year, but when McCluggage learns to kick like 2 goals every game, he's going to win a Brownlow. Like he's that good. The guy is he's one of my favorite midfielders to watch. I don't mind following the field on Brad Crouch. You save a little bit of money, but obviously the other two you should have shares of as well. As we continue down the midfielder tree, Lachie Neale looks like the Brownlow favourite. For a lot of people, we haven't seen a massive ceiling game for about a month or so, but it's definitely there. We've had 2 140s and a 130 and a couple of other decent scores. So again, you could have a seal up the Brownlow narrative kind of thing in the last few rounds with Neale. If he does get 3 votes or 2 votes in these last couple of games, I reckon he's looking like a pretty good bet to take it home. And then the one that I also like here is Jared Lyons. Jared Lyons, hasn't had a ceiling game for a long time, and has kind of been a bit forgotten by a lot of commentators and the like. But I don't mind Jared Lyons at 3-2. Seb Ross has been consistent, dropped off last week, but he's still been consistent throughout the year around that 90 to 100 mark. Going down again, Jared Berry, not much interest there in his kind of hybrid half-forward wing midfield role. But Mason Wood, Smatho, do you remember a few slates ago, we were kind of joking to each other, oh, Mason Wood is going to be in the winning lineup. And he was. And since that point, he has not scored lower than a 90. Since we joked about him being in a winning lineup, he has not scored lower than a 90. And I think he will also be a very, very popular play at the 12. And also with DPP status as well. So Mason Wood will be in my lineups, as I'm sure he will be for almost everyone.
So why is that? Why is that the case? What's his role been? Like, I haven't seen much Mason Wood. Also, I'm seeing these scores and thinking, what's he doing to get all this attention?
Well, it's marking. He's always had a great set of hands, right? And his role itself is kind of moves around a bit because he's a traditional swing player. And so Membry and Wood have both been going up and back. And the other one, they've been shuffling around to Sharman as well. So the role is kind of the same. He's leading forward and also coming back to the forward line as well. And they shuffle him around when they need to. So they move him to where they need him, and that's always good for fantasy. And it's also one I'm going to mention Membry when we get to the forwards as well. So the ability has always been there with Wood. Even when he was at North, he'd had these massive ceiling games, and usually they come with like at least 8 to 10, 12 marks. So I think it's just about maybe he's taken a lot longer than most people thought to come on, but he's been in great fantasy form. Brad Hill, the last time we did a St Kilda game, I was on Brad Hill, and that was a horrible decision. Picking a Brad Hill ceiling game is like, picking when your girlfriend's going to be in a good mood. You just have no idea, So good luck with Brad Hill. Then we've got the rest of the lots of mark from wing half forward. That's with just a tenth of the courage of Rewald as well. And then you've got your 9K midfielders, your hybrids in Rayner, and also Bailey. Be aware, click on Bailey's box scores for us, please, Smatho. So if you go to his actual game log, you'll see that there is rarely a ceiling game in which Bailey doesn't kick a bag of goals. All right. In other words, his big games are very goal dependent. So he nearly kicked me out of a grand final last week. I managed to hang on in my season-long keeper league, and I'm into the grand final this week. Go me. But geez, I only won by 10 points thanks to Bailey. And then the others, if we go to NWM and Matheson, I think, of course, he's an okay play. I don't think there's a need to play Miller. Matheson, 98 after a few little down games after his big return, but I think he kicked 2 goals last week, Matheson. So just be aware that without that becomes an 80. So 1 goal. Okay, that's not too bad then. And then Windhager and Mitch Owens. So I think, Windhager, if he was a forward, again, I'd be more tempted to play him. The CBAs, he could get in there, but I wouldn't back it. Mitch Owens. Now, last week, remind me who they played, Geelong, right? Now, I owe Mitch Owens a beer. If I ever meet him, I owe him a beer because my opponent in that keeper league had Tom Stewart, and Mitch Owens tagged the shit out of him. He absolutely tagged the shit out of him. Tom Stewart did not get anywhere near it. So, Smatho, question. Does Mitch Owens tag Daniel Rich, right? And is that one of St Kilda's avenues to victory here? So, Owens, I wouldn't play him himself. However, will he have an impact on the fantasy game? Well, yes, if he tags Rich. And I think considering the effect now, I know Rich and Stewart aren't the same kind of player in that Rich doesn't really do the intercepting that Stewart does, but Stewart still does have a very important role in generating that swing off halfback. So I wouldn't be surprised if Owens tags Rich. I don't think there's a need to tag Harris Andrews or as a forward tag or anything like that. So I think chances are he does go to Rich.
So instead of being a forward tag, would it be a midfield tag for, say, like Lockie Neal?
Nah, I don't. Possibly. I think he'll start where he did last time. I think he'll start with a forward tag, just to get that drive. Because Rich is when Rich is on, he really does set up a lot of play. And St Kilda will just have to back in, Steele and Ross. I think Steele just goes head to head with Neil and hopes that his bigger body does the job there. Yeah.
And then finally, Jackson Pryor at 7,010. Couple of good scores. Obviously, he returns to the side after injury. So the last time we saw him was the 30th of June. So do you see any possible roles that will get him up to 70, or will he be just back in these low 40s, 50s?
I just think that their midfield rotation is too set. He'll probably play a bit of a half-forward role. Their half-backs are set. I just don't know there'll be the avenues to scoring that there could have been in the past. However, 70 at that price is 10x, and you'd take that any day.
King Kong suggests that possibly tagging Coleman can take a kick out genius. So there we go. So, we'll keep an eye on that one on Friday night to see what Mr. Mitch Owens does. Now, we talked about the forwards. You were quite excited about this group of guys here. So, obviously, Zorko. I hadn't really touched on Zorko.
Oh, sorry, I skipped over Zorko. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So actually,
for him.
Yeah, I do have a fair bit of interest in Zorko. Injuries, really plagued his middle part of the year. He was injured at the start of the season, then got over it, then got injured again. So I'm going to ignore those really low scores in the middle there and focus on his last couple of weeks. Where he definitely has improved. So 3,000 nearly even for Zorko, who has a fantastic historical ceiling. Wherever they use him in the field, whether it's midfield, forward or back, there's definitely multiple avenues of scoring, which is what I love about him. I've touched on Mason Wood, and then Tim Membry. If you click on his recent scores, might get a little bit of a surprise there. They have swung him around. They definitely swung him around last week. Well, they had to because nothing else was working. And with his marking ability and a bit of versatility, the price is probably just a bit high. It might scare some people off. And as people try and jam in the midfielders, Membry, especially in a game where St Kilda probably won't win, I don't mind Membry as a really low percentage play in terms of chances of victory, low ownership play is what I mean to say. Yep. And then we've got our goal scorers for the Lions, Charlie Cameron. I actually think that the Saints could match up okay on Cameron, whether they play Ben Long on him or even Patton's probably just a little bit too big. So see if Long goes to the back. Long's been going up and back again. The Saints are playing some funny buggers a lot with their team, throwing people around a bit. So Cameron, probably not for me this time, and nor Rayner as well. Bailey, we've mentioned. Mcstay, we've mentioned. Lincoln McCarthy, a ceiling game will get you to victory, but no real interest for me, neither with Max King as well. Even, I suppose, if you take a St Kilda victory contrarian team, I don't think Max King is a way to target it. More time.
King Kong suggests with battle out, Memory will spend more time than usual up front.
More time than you finish the sentence there, King Kong. More time than usual where? Forward or back? Because battle, again, is a swing man. So, and with Lynott coming in, there might not be a need to put in defence. Yeah, we'll see. He did, like I said, there are Mason Wood, Membry, to a lesser extent Membry, but yeah, they are switching around a fair bit. Hipwood, I do have a bit of interest in. He has just started to really hit a bit of form at a good time for Brisbane, playing a little bit further up the ground as well, taking a few contested marks and half forward. Smatho's just seen another comment, I think. He's laughing at something.
That's okay. We have welcome to Mark, who obviously he enjoyed last week's win over the Demons and suggested that Luke Jackson's going to Freo. So,
breaking news. Breaking
news
from Sandra Sully there.
Even Michael Usher with the latest. Yeah, so
I didn't know that Jackson was going anywhere, but yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, apparently water is wet. So Danaher, no. Higgins, no. Sharman, no. But Benny Long, yes, please. Let's click on his box scores, a 73 and a 92. Don't mind a bit of that tackling action from Mr. Long. 3, 9, and 7 in his last few games, and also 6 and 6 marks. So, yeah, not bad at 7 for Ben Long. But, yeah, like I said, although there aren't any sixes, you can still go for, let's just go down. Yeah, you plug in a Long and a Hipwood, and then Lynott and Darcy Gardner, and then you can go for quite a good midfield, you know. So look, I don't think myself that we're going to see many high scores out of the forwards. So I think that when you approach a game like this, you think, all right, what are the possible outcomes? What's the highest forward going to score? So if you scroll back up to the top, Smatho, the highest forward in this slate is likely to be someone, Zorko, Wood, or Membry. Okay, so those are likely to be the highest scoring forwards. But what are they going to score? They're probably only going to score like a 90 to 100. So if you can get someone down the list who's going to get a 70 to 80, then you're going to save that cash, save a couple of K, which you can then go for a midfielder. So I think that you have to see what kind of what kind of value do you get, what kind of value add do you get from those high price forwards. And my contention is that you don't get that much.
Speaking of not getting that much, it's now time for your team of the week.
Just come on, just give me a second, because as we've been talking, I must admit I have made a few changes to the team.
All right. What do you got so far?
Just give me a second.
Oh.
I've got to give the people what they want. Okay, they want this. They come for this. They've been waiting all week for this, just like they said in the chat. So I can't deny them of what they want. All right, let's play around as we go. Can you please start off by giving me? I don't usually do this, Smatho. I don't usually do this, but I am going to go for Rowan Marshall. I don't usually spend up in the ruck. Yeah, in the ruck. I don't usually. You have to use only ruckman this time.
In your defence?
In my defence, I will take, firstly, I will take Hunter Clark, and I will also take Mr. Gerard Lionheart, as you call him.
JL, he's in.
Yep.
So yes, we've gone against the Lions, possible beating up on the
and the reason why
gone down the cheaper way.
Yeah, I mean, and I had to do that to get Rowan Marshall in. And if I didn't, if I didn't play Marshall in my 5 lineups or whatever, I would play Mcstay. I probably wouldn't go McInerney because that then allows me to go a higher price mid forward or defender. So in my midfield, now I do have a bit more cash than I originally thought I would. So just give me a tick. Who did I want? Oh, yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right, I'm settled. Okay, cool. In the midfield, give me Crouch. Give me the chalky pair, actually, of Crouch and Wood. And I'm a teacher, so I do love chalk. Give me Matheson as well. And then in the forward line, please, give me Ben Long and give me Daniel Mcstay.
Interesting. So that leaves you 13,600 for either a Seb Ross or a Jared Lyons or a Dane Zorko.
I am going for Dane Zorko, please.
There you go. So Roody's team of the week: Ben Long at 7, Daniel Mcstay at 9-7, Crouch, Mason Wood at Reece Matheson, Dane Zorko, Hunter Clark, JL, and Rowan Marshall. Terrible team again. Vote Trump 2024. I'm out pro. Look, I don't mind that. It is a pretty good chalky team, but you want the Saints to have a great game up at Marvel here to full success for that one. So lock that in. He's actually King Gossan is actually a great team. There we go. It's taking you 21, 22 rounds, and you've gone from mediocrity to some sort of cult-like status. It's fantastic.
Mediocrity is where I live.
Elliot reads the truth. Good on you, buddy. All right, here we go. So that is round 22, Friday night. Saints vs Lions. We're getting so close to the live final. It's going to be a ripping day. So make sure if you are not a part of this, get into those qualifiers. I reckon they will all filled way before bounce down tomorrow night. So if you're interested in looking to get into the live final,
especially the high stakes ones, do usually fill pretty quickly. Get in, guys, because it is a very, very attractive prize. And Smatho, the more we talk about it, the more excited I am about it. It's going to be a really great day, and I'm looking forward to catching up with people. It's been a couple of years since we've had a good old get together in the DFS community, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. All right, Roody. Well, thank you once again for your analysis tonight and for your excellent team of the week there for us. We'll be back next Thursday with another bumper preview for round 23. and a little special little pump up for the live final as well. Give you some little nuggets of gold for the particular day. So looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Rudy. We'll see you next week.
See you, mate. Good luck, everyone.
Click a like, subscribe, all those things, and we're out.